Senator Romer.
Thank you. I'd also ask for an aye vote. Probably people have asked me what an interesting journey this has been, and probably my favorite moment in the entire debate was the introduction of Lori Cloxton at the Denver Chamber of Commerce small business meeting, where 300 small business people were introduced to Lori, Lori's a very interesting person who does mostly palliative care, 260 patients. And Lori is a born-again Christian. Lori is a homeschooling mom. Lori is somebody who I whispered and said, "You're probably a Republican." She said, "Yes, I'm a Republican." And I said, "You probably hate taxes," and said, "Yes, I hate taxes." And so in the midst of that conversation, 300 people realized that just like them, here was a member for 4 years of the Chamber of Commerce who basically was just like them, who is basically a good Republican who didn't like taxes, who homeschooled their children, was born-again Christian. It's just the difference was that she goes every day to work to basically create very high-quality products for palliative care, and many of her patients are homebound. So she was somebody who suggested this amendment, and for Lori and all the 260 patients, all of whom are over the age of 40, this is a great amendment, and I'd ask for an aye vote.
Question is the adoption of Amendment 151. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Amendment 151 is adopted. Mr. McGowan, would you please read floor Amendment 153?
Amendment 153 by House Bill 1284 by Senator Romer. Amend the Local Government and Energy Committee report dated April 27th.
Senator Romer, I recognize you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. What this L-153 does is to correct, we put into the Local Government Committee report that you have to have a 2-year residency to have a ownership in a medical marijuana center. And what this does is to make sure that there's a look back only to December 15th, 2009. So those people who legitimately were residents by December 15th, 2009 can also legitimately participate. So it's basically a grandfather that's appropriate, and we just missed it in local government, and I'd ask for an aye vote.
Senator Harvey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Romer, I understand what you're trying to do with this amendment, but is there any other business that the state requires a residency requirement before they're allowed to open up a business in the state of Colorado? I know that there are a number of countries around the world that do this, but I'm not familiar with any other business in the state where we require a residency requirement.
Senator Romer.
Thank you. I'm not aware of any other industry in Colorado, although I do know there are similar issues, Senator Harvey, in the licensing of those in the casino industry, because one of the things in working with the Department of Revenue is we're going to intensely study the background, the aging of money, the making sure that everybody who's in this and in an ownership position is fully legitimate here in Colorado, somebody that we can do background checks on, somebody that we want in the business of a controlled substance. So, yes, it is a unique provision, and as soon as the federal government drops this from Schedule 1 to Schedule 2, and as soon as it's legal to have marijuana cross state boundaries, then I would support changing this. But for today, and again, what this L-153 does is simply put a grandfather clause into the Local Government Committee report, which actually put in the 2-year restriction. So if you don't like the restriction, you should be for L-153 because it makes it easier to grandfather those people who legitimately came here, invested money by December 15th of 2009, and therefore to ask for an aye vote of L-153.
Question is the adoption of floor Amendment 153. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Floor Amendment 153 is adopted. Mr. McGowan, please read floor Amendment 164.
Amendment 164 to House Bill 1284 by Senator Romer and then State Senate Local Government
Senator
and Energy.
Romer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, this simply changes the dates from the application of July 1 to August the 1st. Many of the smaller dispensaries and smaller participants have said, you're going to ask us to vertically integrate, you're going to ask us to have different types of relationships with people that we don't entirely know yet. We would like another 30 days to form those relationships. It also requires that by September 1st, local governments, September the 1st, they also have to have certify that they have a vertical integration completed within their dispensary. So those are the two dates that have been moved, and this was done at the request of the smaller dispensaries who want more time to basically form partnerships in the vertical integration model, and I'd ask for an aye vote.
The question is the adoption of Floor Amendment 164. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Floor Amendment 164 is adopted. Mr. McGowan, please read Floor Amendment 152.
Amendment 152 to House Bill 1284 by Senator Newell. Amendment Rico Spell, page 9, line 3, strike
Senator
authority.
Newell.
Here's one.
I have one, Linda. This is the stakeholder meeting in November.
Senator Newell, you were recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, this is an amendment to include a stakeholder process. So I move, thank you, Amendment 152.
Did you move the amendment? You just did.
I
Thank
just
you.
did.
And God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. That helps me. Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. So, members, this adds the just stakeholder process to it and puts the DOR and the CDPHE together with input from the stakeholders, and I ask for an aye vote.
Senator Spence.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a favorable amendment, and I would ask for its adoption.
Question is the adoption of Floor Amendment 152. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The amendment is adopted. Mr. McGowan, please read Floor Amendment 163.
Amendment 163 to House Bill 1284 by Senator Newell. Amendment Rico Spell, page 40, line 16, before
Senator
direct.
Newell.
Did you? I'm sorry.
You're recognized.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. And members, this one is to, it's an actual costs amendment.
Move it, please.
I am so sorry. I move Amendment 163. And this is basically saying you can't make up all of these dollar amounts, these fees out of the blue. You need to base it upon actual costs. And I ask for an aye vote.
Senator Romer.
Thank you. And for the record, I think, Senator Newell, what you're asking is, you know, since we don't have any actual history, since we're unchartered, the department is going to have to set application fees that they won't know the full cost of the first regulation. So they're going to have to prospectively set the fees at the front end. Then, of course, on an ongoing basis, the fees are only equal to actual. So you're not in any way, shape, or form restricting them in setting the estimated fees and the application fee at the beginning. You're just making sure that in the entire completion of it, that they're actually going to charge what it costs. But they are going to have to set actual application fees as of now, based on the last amendment, August the 1st.
Senator Newell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, Senator Romer, it is prospective, obviously. I get that. I just want them to be on notice that the patients need this, and if they need this, that anything that adds to the cost of the patient care is unacceptable, and that many of us in the legislature are going to be watching with an actual, honestly, an eagle eye on that. And so I do understand that, but I would hope also that prospectively that they would do a better estimation of costs based on what they can determine as actual
Senator
costs.
Romer.
Thank you. And again, members, let's be clear about what we're doing here. We're setting up a licensing authority for an industry that didn't exist a year ago that now has 1,100 establishments, which, you know, right or wrong, is a tribute to the American system that, you know, of commerce, which is nothing existed a year ago to speak of, and now they're 1,100. So you have to basically create a regulatory staff to cover 1,100 locations. Now, we expect and we admit that from revenue, we believe that about 50% of those will not be in existence by the time we get through the first round. But we also know that there are lots of business people, based upon the passage of 1284, who will choose to get into this business because they understand that this is now something that is legal in Colorado. They'll be protected from prosecution, protected from seizure of their property, protected from raiding by the DEA. So for all those who are afraid, yeah, sure, there's going to be initially a contraction of probably about 50%. And I would argue again that that's probably the knucklehead factor. In fact, last night I got a call from an undercover reporter just to prove to you my thesis on this. An undercover reporter in the town of Denver went to 7 dispensaries yesterday. Of the 7 dispensaries, without a card, without any documentation, 5 of those dispensaries sold them marijuana without any confirmation that that was a patient. Only 2